Many people in the U.S. now have a COVID-19 vaccine card, paper or digital. But could we soon be proving our vaccination status by the substances inserted under our skin? Earlier today, I spoke with Epoch Times investigative reporter and host of Crossroads, Joshua Phillip. He says reports that the government is trying to make this happen should have everyone's alarm bells sounding. Joshua Phillip, welcome to our show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, always a pleasure being here.
Something that's largely flown under the radar, a patent filed by the U.S. government for a new product containing luciferase. That's a bioluminescent material often used in COVID-19 research. There are now reportedly proposals to use this product to start tracking people's vaccination status with an injectable that would sit under the skin. Now, you've been digging into this issue. Can you tell us what you've learned so far?
Well, I think people get hung up on the freaky name of it because it, of course, it sounds like they're talking about Lucifer from the Bible being like the devil. And, naturally people are concerned about, among the religious community, they talk about the mark of the beast and things like that. And, they're legitimately worried about that. And, of course, the media has a field day trying to debunk it and so on. The reality is this. Luciferase, regardless of how you interpret it, right, just on the surface, it's a bioluminescent material containing like lightning bugs and so on. And one of the reasons they want to use it for these marks they want to give people, and the Department of Homeland Security has filed a patent for it, and there's ongoing research on it. It's a lot of reporting on this. They have filed a patent for it, and they want to give people marks. And the reason they want to use luciferase is because it's bioluminescent and shows up under UV light. And so they can scan you almost like a barcode. They can scan this mark they give you, and it can bring up, for example, almost just like a QR code, again, like scan with your smartphone. It can bring up data on your vaccination status or any other data they want to include on you. And to me, that is what was concerning. Not so much, well, I think it's creepy, the name of it, of course, especially as related to they want to mark you with it. But to me, the bigger thing, well, arguably the bigger thing, at least the one on the surface, is that they want to do this in the first place. That they want to give people tattoos, essentially, using this bioluminescent material so they can tell whether or not you're listening to the government. That concerns me very deeply. They've already developed it. The issue is whether they will ever actually roll it out, and that's where we're at right now.
Last year, a Swedish company launched an implantable microchip that could hold COVID-19 data. How far could something like this go if it's allowed to begin?
I'd say it's not far off at all that they make an implantable microchip. Of course, part of the transhumanist movement, which, it sounds crazy, but it's a thing now. They're talking about this. In fact, the individual I mentioned with the World Economic Forum has a whole, several interviews where he's talking about this, the idea of transcending the normal human condition by mixing man and machine. The people pushing these global agendas believe in this stuff. And it's not far off anymore. Even Elon Musk is talking about microchipping people's brains and so on. The concern with luciferase and this tracking system is not that it's going to put a microchip in your body. The concern is that they're creating basically a QR code that could be scanned and then used just like a microchip would. A microchip goes a bit further than that because that suggests that there's some kind of not just information leaving your body, but maybe information going into your body, through the use of that. Which I think people have a clear reason to be concerned about because people are talking about it. The people pushing these agendas are talking about it. Now, again, these are different products, but once you lose bodily autonomy, once they have the right as a form of government, programs or government surveillance to enter your body, what else could that mean? Where could that go next? The sky's the limit.
And what do you think people should do if they're concerned about their medical privacy and their freedom?
Well, people need to make their voices heard with this, and also not be silent when they try to say it's a conspiracy theory. Because look, they have a patent for it. They talk about it openly. They're trying to fact check it not on the facts, but on the interpretation of the facts. Your medical data, that is between you and your doctor, and how the walls have been torn down, how your rights have been stripped from you if they think they can push it this far.
Joshua Phillip, host of Crossroads, thank you so much for your time.
Hey, real pleasure.
The Neuralink device are called Class 3 medical devices. They are implantable, and they're going into very sensitive body cavities. That is the highest level of scrutiny that the FDA assigns to medical devices. They don't have a predecessor. There's no previous example that's approved. And so, very appropriately, they got a high bar they have to cross in order to get it approved. So what Neuralink has to do next is prepare a very long and technical document with all the evidence from animal studies that their device is safe and effective. This document is submitted to the FDA, who has 90 days to review and give them an answer. If the FDA says yes, then their clinical trial is approved and Neuralink can enroll and recruit human participants. We're on the cusp of a complete paradigm shift. This type of technology has the potential to transform our treatments, not just for stroke and paralysis and degenerative disease, motor degenerative diseases, but also for pretty much every other type of brain disease, from Parkinson's to epilepsy to dementias, Alzheimer's, and even psychiatric disease. Seeing Neuralink and the other...
So clearly the first clip is showing that in depth the technology for the mark of the beast is here. When it says the mark, it has to be something that can be seen. Because without it, you can't buy or sell. So people have to visibly be able to verify that you have it. So if there is luciferase, which causes, a glowing under black light, we've seen that they've installed like black light street lights in some cities. So it has to be something that can be seen visibly. So they're just showing in that first clip that the technology is here, that they have the ability, they're working on the patents. They speak of, I forget if it's class 2 or class 3 medical devices that are implantable. There was wording like that in Obamacare, and I'm no lawyer. I can't find the exact wording of that in Obamacare, but here's a small thing that was spoken of in 2009 when Obama was in office. You can look that over if you want, but it talks about how Obamacare had, it says Class 2, Paragraph 1, Section B specifically includes a Class 2 device that is implantable. So when you go back to the second clip that I showed you, the guy speaks about I believe a Class 2 or Class 3 implantable device approved by the FDA when he's speaking about Neuralink. So when it comes to Bible prophecy, I find this interesting because of this verse, and I don't know if anybody said this or not, but this is what I think of. In 2 Thessalonians 2:8, it's talking about, starting 2:7, it's talking about the Antichrist and his system. For the mystery of iniquity does already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. In NIV, it might be slightly easier to understand. The coming of the lawless one will be in accordance with how Satan works. He will use all sorts of display of power through signs and wonders that serve the lie, and all the ways that wickedness deceives those who are perishing. They perish because they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. So if you go back to that second clip where the guy is talking about Neuralink and how it would open up science to be able to repair spinal damage, brain issues, I think he spoke on paralysis. Consider that if the goal is to deceive through displays of power through signs and wonders, by medically healing people of spinal injuries, of brain injuries, of deafness, blindness by using medical chips, by using transhumanism, which, is kind of a step of evolution. They want to perpetrate the lie of evolution. So transhumanism is something that supports their whole evolution thought process. So I just wanted to share these two clips. In part of the video, I showed a Twitter screenshot where Elon Musk said that there would be a display of what Neuralink could do, like a demonstration in late November. So if they've already demonstrated that monkeys can control computer cursors and all these other kind of things, we have to look at how the technology is advancing exponentially. So I don't know what he's going to do in a month's time, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was something far advanced beyond what people are expecting, and I don't know the status of if they're doing human trials or not, but the potential there for the lying signs and wonders that they are able to heal a person by technology added to the brain, that only adds to the evolution narrative that they want to support. So those were the two clips that I wanted to show you, and that, if it's not already clear to you, the technology for the mark of the beast is here, and all they need is the reason to implement it. So, look how quickly things changed in 9/11. All they need is another one of those. Jesus Christ is Lord. He died on the cross for your sins and mine. The only way to heaven is not by being a good person. It is by having the good person, Jesus Christ, stand in your place, and he took the sins that we've all committed and took them upon himself. He who knew no sin became sin, and he stood in our place so that you could be born again and made righteous, justified before God the Father. So you must have Jesus Christ in your heart, invite him into your temple of your body so that you may be saved. Amen.